Hashtag vlogging it up in the UK. I'm wankered. I mixed the lorazepam with alcohol and I don't know. To get serious, yeah, I started ripping, yeah, and see, because my doctor gave me these lorazepams and she said take half of one if you can't deal. And this experience has taught me that ripping, right, is like, it's an imbalance in the mind when like there's been some sort of trigger or some sort of something that's made, you know, you meet anybody, you know, really anxious enough to sort of like panic or really raises, you know, a bit of sciencey here, you know, really raises the glutamate levels in the mind, you know, which is a hormone that just stimulates. It's a stimulating hormone. I mean, you've got your two main hormones. You've got glutamate and you've got GABA, and your GABA makes you go to sleep, and your glutamate makes you awake. But like, if you got too much glutamate, yeah, I don't want to go down that road. So like, it's like what the drug does is it reduces the amount of glutamate you've got in your mind, and it takes you down out of that panic state. And I'm pretty shook with how my doctors, Dr. Nimmel and just Jackie, want me to deal with the situation. I mean, Dr. Nimmel wants to reduce the amount of antipsychotic I'm on, and Jackie is like, I mean, I wanted to be on something all the time for like anxiety, and she was like, come take 50% of what you was on, the clonazepam, which like literally saved my life. I mean, like, it just changed my whole reality, you know. I was fully crazy, right? And it took me back into reality. And so yeah, it's hard coming off it, but like, she said take 50% of that, right, for a while, and then just don't take any. And then when you have like, because she's seen me at my worst, you know, she's sort of, I guess she was talking about them kind of times when, like, you know, I'm crying and I can't deal, and I just feel like, you know, everybody's talking about me, and you know, I don't know, when I'm in emotional pain with my anxiety, you know, big emotional pain with my anxiety, you know, or just general emotional pain with my anxiety, you know, she says, like, in them situations, yeah, you can take like half a lorazepam. I'm getting uncomfortable here. You can take half a lorazepam twice a day, but only actually at the time when you're feeling this, right? And then, like, something happened to me this morning, and I started experiencing this thing, and I didn't think of it as like being a big deal, but it did turn into a big deal. It's changed my reality in like a negative way, through like getting stressed, and like, I left it quite a while before I took my lorazepam, because I hadn't learned the lesson yet that I'm about to describe, which is that what it is, I call it a rip, yeah. Some people call it a pop, some people call it I go, You know, it happens to all sorts of people, and I reckon if this ever happens to me, right, and I catch myself in the early stages of the, you know, straight away, like when I start to feel in my mind like, oh, something's not right here, you know, I think it's happening, you know, to like, it's not a thing that like people should laugh about, or I'm just expressing myself here. I'm not saying what people should do, but should laugh about, or like, I don't know, you know, it's what it is. It's a natural moment of mental illness, you know. I mean, it's kind of, when somebody pops, you know, when you make someone pop, it is like, you know, I can be like bopping along, doing my own thing, doing nothing, literally doing nothing. You know, I mean, at one time I was sat on a train, I was just sitting there with my leg over the table, and this girl says, I've gone, you know, and it's like, I don't want to get into it too much, but I used to kind of romanticize those moments, you know, but I don't anymore. It's simply just an imbalance of hormones in the brain through stress, you know. Clearly, somehow I'd managed to stress her out. I wasn't doing anything. Maybe it's trauma from her past or something like that, I don't know, but she got stressed out to the point where she went, or popped, or gone, you know. And all I'm saying, in a very short way, is that when I go, or when this happens to me, and at the very start of it, I need to take half a lorazepam, because it's not something that you can learn how to deal with. And I'll tell you why, because it's followed me from the state I was in like 3 years ago. I was really mashed up, you know, really unaware of what was going on around me, really unaware of people, how good people are, how they like to help, how positive they are, etc., etc. I was really unaware of all of that, and like when I went, you know, I could be fooled into thinking that like it's something that you can grow out of. It's something that eventually stops happening because you've learned all you need to learn, and you're sort of like caught up with everybody, all kinds of types of people who you kind of run into who are too much for you, you know, and that's why the overload happens, you know. That you can like learn, you can bone up, you know, you can learn, you can get to a point where it stops happening. But it's not true. It's like mental illness is mental illness, you know. I mean, maybe that's true, maybe you can, but like another way of looking at it is that it's mental illness, it's momentary mental illness is what it is, caused by stress. And just to take like half a lorazepam, and that stops it. That stops, like, because what happens is you have like I don't like using phrases, but you get like a snowball effect, where like everything everybody says seems to be talking about, you know, this could be you, me, anybody, you know, this person, right? Everything everybody says, it seems to be talking about them, and it's like it can go on for hours, you know, where every comment just adds to the anxiety, and it just builds and builds, you know. So like, yeah, just to take like half a lorazepam as soon as this starts happening, to lower the glutamate levels in the mind, and put the balance back where it should be, you know. And you know, straight away I did it a little bit too late. This is the first time I've ever learned everything that I'm saying to you here. This is the first time I've ever learned it. Well, some things yes, some things no, but like, I don't know. I'm going to end it here. I'll see you later. Goodbye.